This week's reading in Hayes and Holliday is on grammatical criticism. This is where Logos Bible software really shines. It's good at breaking down every word and helping us analyze them. Not only does Logos make readily available to us some of the tools that are mentioned in this week's chapter, it also organizes that material in a way that is more helpful than any traditional set of books could. But one thing that Logos cannot do, and should not try, is to tell you what any passage means. It is best for displaying and revealing the text itself, and for answering some of the questions we bring to a text and organizing the results in a way that elucidates some of the features of a text. In the forums, we've been talking about how to make sense of the Bible, and that is a complex task. Because biblical passages vary so dramatically from each other, it's impossible to lay out a step-by-step procedure that is guaranteed to open up a passage. Remember that we are not after the meaning of a biblical text. There are many different reasons for studying the Bible or for exegeting a text. Often it's just so downright interesting. But one of the more important reasons for believers to do so is to hear a word from God through the passage. My own belief here is that God often uses the means of Scripture to speak a living word to God's people today. Having said that, I have posted a recommended methodology for studying and exegeting a text. This methodology is general enough to apply to most passages. Some of the steps listed there are not very important at all for some passages, but quite important to others. The same goes for the criticisms being introduced by Hayes and Holliday. Some are irrelevant to some passages, but very important for others. Please let me know what procedural or methodological questions come to mind as you begin to use this methodology in working with your passage. Don't forget to ask yourself several times, what's surprising here? Or at least, what could be surprising here? Several of you have wondered in your forum response last week how to know which resources are better or more reliable and which ones are not. And what about the commentaries we have in the bronze package? Are they good or not? The answer is yes and no. I'm not high on R.C. Sproul, a contemporary Reformed theologian, but we have 3 commentaries in the bronze package by him. Nor am I high on Matthew Henry, who wrote his commentary more than 300 years ago and was able to find a moral lesson in all biblical passages, whether they have one or not, or whether it's relevant today or not. That doesn't mean that you shouldn't use Sproul or Henry, just use them with a grain of salt. I would say the same about Lange, L-A-N-G-E, who wrote about 175 years ago. His 61 sizable volumes are technical and useful, but they are somewhat old. The Keil and Delitzsch commentaries are also good, but they are also old since they wrote about the same time as Lang, and their commentaries are only on the Old Testament. Now, since all of your exegesis passages include a quotation from the Old Testament, you probably should consult Keil and Delitzsch to see what they say about the Old Testament passages that your passage is quoting. The best popular level commentary is Harper's Bible Commentary, which is the product of interdenominational and interfaith cooperation among scholars who are part of the Society of Biblical Literature. Don't obsess too much about your analysis of your 3 commentaries. This should be done after your exegesis paper is done in December, and it should be only a page or 2. Finally, thank you for your feedback in the first midterm evaluation. Some of you mentioned that it would be helpful to have the week's focus assignments and forum posted earlier, so I will try to get the forum assignment and other materials for the week posted no later than Sunday evening in the future. Hope I can do that. Thank you. Have a good week.